Hey, what's going on, guys? Any Pride here, back with Milk and Cookies Total War.
And this is Madness.
And today we are bringing you a 2v2 that we actually just played. It was a Shogun versus Follow the Samurai 2v2 against the 62nd ranked people on the leaderboards. Across from Madness, we have YOLO Swag over 9,000. Obvious Dragon Ball Z reference is obvious. And across from me, we have Rebelli Mushroom. And this is actually a really interesting battle because, one, I'm really rusty at this game. I've been playing a lot of Dota. This was like my first Shogun battle in a while. And basically, I demonstrate exactly what you. My army setup is really good, but I demonstrate how not to rush effectively with it against a Follow Samurai player. Basically, I did a ton of things wrong, mismicroed all over the place, and you'll get to laugh at me for that. But Madness, on the other hand, did a really good job of closing in on his opponent and shutting him down early. So, do you want to go
Yeah.
over your army setup real quick?
I did it okay job, but yeah. Okay, so I have my four Nag attendants up front. Behind that I have three vanilla Nodachis, which obviously I only use against Fall of the Samurai because they're cheap and I can bring a total of 6 Nodachis this way. I have 3 level 6 Nodachis to meet Shogatai because I'm expecting to see Shogatai and he does actually have 3 of them. And yeah, obviously I have my awesome melee gen with 28 defense, which I'm really proud of. 2 really nicely upgraded Great Guard, a Katana Cav, a second Katana Cav, and 2 light Cav units. So yeah, the plan is obviously to rush in, have good Cav to protect my infantry, kill his infantry, and then have enough troops left to take down any shooter Cav he might have, which he also does have. 150 range Imperial Guard Cav, so yeah, they would totally destroy us if we let those guys live.
Yeah, taking those out will be absolutely paramount. And over on my side, this is a pretty similar build to what you guys have seen from me before. When I'm rushing against Follow Samurai, I don't always rush. I sometimes like to bring 200 range bows, which can be very effective. I opted not to do that this game. I wanted to close in on my opponent as fast as possible. So 4 Naginata attendants, 2 Yari Ashigaru meat shields, 5 Nodachis, and a Yari Samurai with hold firm just to keep them in the fight just a little bit longer. And then for my Cav contingent, 2 light Cav, 2 Yari Cav, and a fire Cav. And it's also really important to note that Follow Samurai, as most of you guys know by now, usually has the Cav advantage, and I would say that might not actually be the case this battle, but they do
Yeah.
have a bunch of 24 attack, 18 attack Yari Ki. So I would say it's pretty even. You have the advantage of having the 2 Great Guard, which is really good,
Yeah,
but
did come in
it's
handy.
kind of a toss-up.
Yeah, it's kind of risky actually, but these guys do manage to take out elite Fall of the Samurai Cav. So combined with my gen, I actually have a very capable Cav component, and I think it might be slightly superior to what my opponent is bringing.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
it is important. Sorry, it is important to note though that before we get into this replay, we are going to try putting it in slow motion or pausing it at some points, just so that we can get each person's perspective on the battle at that moment. So we usually, in fact, I don't think we've ever done this before. So if our games get a little bit out of sync, the replay might get a little bit out of sync. Don't worry too much about it. We'll try not to let that happen though. So are you ready to press play?
yes indeed.
All right, so 3, 2, 1, play. And so obviously we're going to close this distance as quickly as possible. If you look over at my side real quick, I'm going to position myself on the left side of the sword dojo, looking at it from my perspective, try to set up behind the hill so that his guns don't have any line of sight on me. And I'm going to keep my Cav I'm going to keep some of my Cav on my left flank to prevent him from flanking me, and then keep the rest of my light Cav backing up my Naginata attendant, but I'm quickly going to realize that I cannot actually stop him from capturing the archery dojo in the middle. And they
Yeah.
are going to get the sword dojo and archery dojo, which is not ideal, of course, when
Yeah.
you're playing against all the guns and
it looks
Shogun
like
Dojo.
it looks like he does have Cav capture because the banner's going up right now.
Yeah, he does.
He's only got mounted Cav up in
Yeah.
that place. And yeah, I guess I should go over what's happening on my side. I've decided to, since my opponent has a Royal Marine, I wanted to go through the forest to the right of the workshop And there's also a nice hill here, so I should have a good angle to attack him from. And he's wheeling up with 2 level 9 Imperial Guard Cav. But luckily for me, he's only shooting my neg attendants in a forest, so it's gonna take him a while to whittle down my infantry. And he is also about to send in his Shogatai, which I'm going to be able to meet with my own infantry. Anything happening on your side right now?
No, but I would like to say that one of the biggest issues that Red has in this battle is the fact that he doesn't have any meat shields, and he doesn't let his line infantry get up front. So his Shogatai are going to get, I believe they get raw charged by Nodachis, correct?
It's actually about to happen, so we can close out right now. And
Yeah.
obviously that's what I try to do. And I think I get one of my neg attendants out in time. This one here.
Let's put it into
And
slow motion on
can
one.
actually-
3, 2, 1, slow motion. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think the biggest issue for him at the moment is the fact that his Shogatai literally have no meat shield, so they're going to get straight into a melee grind with no dachis. And while they do have 23 attack, they don't have bonsai, so they don't have the unbreakable morale. And some of his line units are positioned behind his lines, so he's going to get some friendly fire going with there as well, and that's going to be a big
Yeah.
issue for him.
Though his Royal Marines don't really have any kills yet. Now they're starting to shoot, but they're shooting a neg attendant as well.
They really don't have a good line of sight at all.
Yeah. I mean, they can take out this unit, but it's actually serving its purpose very well. Like, for one thing, it's outflanking this Shogatai, and at the same time it's eating bullets for my Nodachis. And I'm sending in a Katana Cav to help out my Nodachi because it's not doing as well as I thought. Which, in hindsight, is actually not that surprising because it was fighting 2 Shogatai and it also has a bit less defense than they do. So, yeah, it needs that support, but as you can see, my opponent fails to get in any cav to protect them from being charged by my Katana Cav. So I'm going to be able to take out his Shogatai pretty easily. And
Yeah,
as
they were
you-
just completely unsupported, and that was a huge mistake of
Yeah.
his.
Yeah, and as you can also see in the forest, my neg attendants are still not routing from that guard cav fire. So,
All right, let's shift over
Yeah.
to my side real quick.
okay, still in snow.
So, yeah, still slow-mo. This is, as you can see right here, I'm obviously trying to get into melee as quickly as possible. I have my meat shields up front, but one thing that happens to me actually fairly frequently, and I need to fix this habit of mine, is that I'll put my general in the control group, and then sometimes when I move my control group, my general will run ahead,
Yeah.
and he's shooting at the meat shields, but a bunch of the bullets are flying overhead, and my gen is already down to half strength, getting absolutely destroyed by these black bears. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with running into gunfire, I'm not meat shielding properly. My general's way out ahead of where he's supposed to be. And basically, I'm just going to get really flustered here and miss micro all over the place. And as you can see, with all this line fire coming in, there's a big morale penalty. And I haven't rallied yet. I haven't stand in and fight yet. And that's the first thing you need to do is when you get into range of guns, you got to rally, you got to inspire, you got to go in and stand and fight, or you're going to lose your general and lose your troops really quickly. So my meat shields are already gone at this point. But the benefit that I have is that I did meat shield relatively well, and so my swords are still going to get into melee, and I have bonsai, which is obviously very important for keeping my guys in the fight. Over on my left flank, I'm fighting his Yariki. We kind of both countercharged there. I had a Yari Ashigaru backing up, so that was really helpful for me. And then I have the rest of my cav coming in from behind my lines, but I'm just going to focus on completely... He doesn't have very many line units, so what he does have, I can overpower if I can get my cav in, but I'm just miss-microing all over the place. Like, my cav just aren't moving in the back there, they're just kind of standing there for the moment, and I'm going to quickly realize that they aren't doing anything and start moving them, but there's just, it was just a really sloppy attack, and it was basically due to the fact that I'm kind of rusty right now, and
Yeah.
it was bad.
And
but,
you did kind of walk into this half moon of
Yeah.
He has a 175 range Tosa with currently 95 reload because I think they capped the archery dojo.
yeah, they have
And he's got
archery
150
dojo.
range black bears, a lot of those. So yeah, just a bunch of really good units.
But you can see this starts to turn in my favor as soon as I get into melee. Like, my whole army was wavering at one point pretty much, but the fact that I have the bonsai, I have the hold firm Yari Sam, which in a couple seconds here I think I'm going to activate. But I have that. My general's actually still alive. I didn't realize that, but he is going to kill him with that Yari key that got in behind my lines. But obviously some micro mistakes, but I still have the morale and the unbreakable morale to keep my guys in the fight for long enough to to kill off the rest of his line units. But right now the problem is the cav that he has. He still has the Imperial Guard cav. He still has the Yari key, and I don't really have a lot of ways to protect my flanks at the moment.
So yeah, I guess I could risk going over to my side.
Yeah.
As you can see, his Shogutai didn't last very long against my Cav and Nodachi in combination, and I am now chasing off his gun Cav, including his general, because yeah, I have Katana Cav into them. I can use my Great Guard against his Yari Ki, as right here, and he doesn't seem to have very many Cav units. Like, he's not able to hold down as many units as I can offer. And yeah, I got 2 units into his gen, 1 into this Yariki, holding it down. Got this Great Guard into this Yariki and this Yariki. And this Light Cav is chasing down the Imperial Guard Cav. And okay, it just routed, but he is losing units rapidly because he's just outnumbered and he can't afford to really support his melee cav with gun cav in melee, and they're just gonna disappear. And yeah, my infantry is free, but right now it's not gonna be able to do anything because this is just a cav fight, and I need to get rid of this cav with my own. But yeah, his gen is about to rout. I'm gonna get into his gun cav, and I think one of them is going to survive. But basically, I've almost entirely won this side. Like, the only way I could lose is if I do something really dumb and get all my cav shot to pieces.
And if you could quickly shift over here, it's actually coming down pretty much to the wire over on my side. The problem is that he has a Tosa rifleman with 175 range free on my flank, and they're going to get some fantastic shots off on my Yari Samurai, and hold firm is about to wear off. So right now, with the remaining cav that I have a Yari cav and a little bit of a fire cav left. I'm going to focus on killing his gen, which is actually a Bushido and gun gen hybrid. So he does have Bonsai on his general, and that's going to make it hard to kill him in melee, but I need to get his general off the field because I'm not going to be able to deal with the Tosa rifleman. I'm not going to be able to deal with his Imperial Guard cav that he has left. So my Yari Samurai is about to rout. Going to kill a couple more Yari Ki before they go, but I realize I'm not going to win my side of this battle, so I'm going to try to kill his gen. Failing that, I'm going to pull my cav out of there and get them over to Madness because there are still 2 Imperial Guard cav left on the field, and if those are given free reign to just run around the field shooting us to death, and if we don't have any cav, we'll have absolutely no answer to it and we will lose this battle. So I notice here his Yari Ki came and is catching up to my Yari cav, so I'm going to pull out, realize I can't kill his gen because he still has Bonsai activated. Going to get out of there as quickly as possible, and also get my Yari Ashigaru out of there, and just leave that Yari Samurai there to die because there's nothing I can do to save it at this point. My cav's getting out of there, and then now we see that YOLO Swag over 9,000 still has his Imperial Guard cav. That's the only unit he has left, so we're going to focus all of our attention on killing that now.
Yeah, and
I think we can go back to normal speed. Alright, so 3, 2, 1, play.
Yeah, as predicted, he's only got 1 Imperial Guard cav left, as does Indy's opponent, so yeah, as Indy said, pretty much our only priority is to get rid of those 2 units, because we do have enough infantry to deal with the Tosas. And yeah, I'm trying to protect my gen, whose Bonsai has worn off and who's about to rout. Keeping him back, trying to hide behind Indy's cav, which is coming to support me and to cut off the escape route of this unit. And I'm sending 3 units after them, 2 Katana cav and a Great Guard. And yeah, they're gonna be running across the map, trying to get away, but
of course he's going to try to pull away with that. I mean, that's an extremely powerful unit. It has 65 volleys, which is insane, and it is one thing that I wish that CA would address. It won't happen at this point, but I don't understand why line units
yeah.
have 10 or 15 volleys, but Cav have 65. That doesn't really make sense to me. But it's fairly obvious what he's going to do at this point. He sees that he's getting boxed in. I'm going to send my Cav to cut him off, kind of send them at a diagonal angle so that he can't get away. And we're just going to surround that and get that off the field ASAP, because as soon as we do that, we can turn our attention to black, and keeping our Cav alive is going to be essential, again, because black still has an Imperial Guard Cav left as well. But he's now well and surrounded with our cavalry. He's going to get a volley off of my fire Cav, but I'm going to do some damage before they go down. And obviously a rear charge from Katana Cav, and the rear will take care of that. His Imperial Guard Cav completely surrounded, and that will get sent off the field. So we now notice that he has sent another Yari key. This was a big mistake from him. There was no reason for him to waste that Yari key like that, fighting 3 Cav units by itself.
Yeah, I do kind of waste my Katana Cav fighting it frontally, but with the numbers, I think it's going to even out pretty well.
And your Katana Cav is now going to fight the other Imperial Guard Cav. I would say that was a little bit of a mistake.
Yeah, it was. I shouldn't have rushed this. My Katana Cav, I kind of overestimated them. Like, I thought maybe he would just run away. But, yeah, he knew he could take him on frontally, and just one volley got rid of them.
Yeah.
So now what we have left, after Indies units routed, is 14 guys in this Great Guard, and 27 guys in this Katana Cav. And what I'm about to do is, I'm going to send in my Katana Cav, just slightly ahead of my Great Guard. And
Yeah, he's still going to target it, though. This part scared me because I didn't want you to frontally attack, and you could have microed it separately, having one unit go from one angle, one go from another. But you get the Great Guard into melee, so that's really all you need to ask for.
Yeah, I kind of sacrificed an 800 Coco unit just to get one charge off.
Yeah.
Which is very risky in a late game scenario, but
especially if that Imperial Guard Cav survives, we would have had no answer.
Yes.
He would have been kited forever.
Yes.
So
we would have lost this.
If the Great Guard failed. If the Great Guard didn't act like Great Guard.
Yeah, but I mean, these 13 men have 26 attack, 30 charge, and they just destroy this full Imperial Guard Cav unit. So
that is now off the field, and it is officially... This battle's over at this point. He has 1 Tosa Rifleman left, and we do have 1 Cav unit, so we can completely outmaneuver it. But... it's still a dangerous unit. It has 175 range, pretty insane reload skill, 95.
And it does have the same modern rifles, which the Marines are using. So their reload is insanely quick. They shoot like every 3 seconds or so. And they do have good accuracy as well, and very good range. And they, as long as they can form a full line and nobody's shooting back at them to force them to do the famous Tosa shuffle, and without any means of making them unable to refill those lines. Like when you have one line, only one line can fire, but in a bear unit or something has 200 men, they can refill those ranks.
Yeah.
That's why in a gun battle this unit is actually very ineffective due to just the lack of guys, because one volley is gonna ruin it for a long time.
And they'll just have to reposition and not be able to fire during the attack.
Yeah, right. But this is not the case here, because we don't have any we don't have any gun units, especially not 200 men in a line unit, which can just take down half of these guys in a single volley. So they will machine gun fire at us constantly at 175 range, which, needless to say, is going to deal a lot of damage. And
that Nodachi's dying right now.
Yes, I already had to bonsai this Nodachi.
But that's the beauty
about
of
halfway through. And I actually kind of failed here.
Mistake, but it's fine.
I had him stop here because I didn't give an attack order. I forgot I had only given them a movement order. But this Nodachi got down to 9, 8, 7 guys without reaching them, but we do get a decent charge up and some men flying with a Great Guard, and the attack was in sync with the infantry, so there was nothing he could really do due to the numbers. But it kind of scared me at the time how fast my Nodachi was dying there. It was just insane. So, but yeah, our numbers prevailed at this point.
So, what did we learn from that battle? Well, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I truly believe that in a 1v1 or 2v2 situation, Shogun 2 has the advantage over Fall Samurai players and army setups. For the most part, there are maps like Chikugo River, Aboke Gorge, and others where there's a big terrain disadvantage, like either you'll have to attack uphill and they can just camp, or a big river, like on Chikugo. That kind of thing can be a big deal for Shogun 2 armies, but on most maps where there's terrain, even if you play like crap, I played like absolute crap that game. I mismicroed my cavalry, I mismicroed my infantry attack, I let my general die way too early, and just because of my army setup, because I had a good army composition and meat shielded relatively effectively, I was able to get into melee and do way more damage than I should have, even though my entire army was pretty much wavering before I got into melee. Those tides can turn so quickly as soon as you get into melee, so that's one thing that you should think about when you're playing against Follow Samurai as a Shogun 2 avatar.
Yeah, like if anybody was watching the power bar at the time, you were closing in, it was like 1/3 in our favor, and then you closed in and you almost killed all of his units.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, he would have beaten you 1v1, but it would have been very close. And yeah, like, if you fight Fall of the Samurai, don't worry about the power bar, pretty much. It's not, it doesn't tell the tale.
No, it doesn't at all.
It's very much about positioning. Like, if you can get this nice hill or that forest or whatever the map ends up offering you, and use it to your advantage, it's really not that difficult. Especially if your opponent doesn't use his cav to protect his infantry.
Yeah.
Even though, oddly enough, we still both got a negative win-loss, no, not win-loss, kill-death ratio. Like, I killed 887, lost 971. Granted, my army was a bunch bigger than YOLO Swag over 9,000's army. And I just, obviously I just had to say his name again, just to say his name again. Because I had fresh units, meat shields, and just Shogun 2 units just tend to be a lot cheaper than Fall of the Samurai units. You get decent meat shields, not 400 koku, 420 koku meat shields. So yeah, I have to agree that like a Shogun 2 rush I think is better against Fall of the Samurai than a Fall of the Samurai rush, except for maybe if you're rushing like cav heavy and you're using cav capture to put really good pressure on your opponent right away with your melee cav capping the dojos and then being free to move around. Like, obviously that's something you can't do with a vanilla army, but overall, especially in team matches, I think it's pretty safe to say that you have a very good chance with a Shogun 2 army.
Yeah.
Like you saw, I managed to use a hill for line of sight, I managed to use a forest to protect my meat shields, and even my 220 koku meat shield units lasted a very long time against those... How many koku gun cav units?
I don't know, a lot.
I think they cost 1050 fresh, and they had 9 upgrades on them, and
so 1400, something like that.
it was like I guess 1500 if you have 9 50 koku upgrades on them, and
Yeah.
probably more than that if you add in the clan upgrades. And I think range costs 120 in Fall of the Samurai at level 9. So yeah, it's really easy to just remain cost effective and have an even trade going on, and that way just grind out a win. All you really need to worry about is gun cav, because that's something Shogun 2 isn't really fit to deal with, because you have a cav disadvantage in terms of cost effectiveness.
And like one issue that I think, obviously I didn't play as well as I would have liked to have played that game, but there were definitely some big mistakes on the opposing side as well. Yellow Swag over 9,000, for example, with his army setup, he had ranged units. He had a really powerful Royal Marine that he didn't really use at all, and Madness didn't have any ranged units, so why would you not skirmish with that first?
Yeah.
Make your opponent come directly to you. Why would you, he sent his Shogatai in unsupported. One, he should have pushed his cav advantage. I do think he had a cav advantage over you because of the Imperial Guard cav. He could just flank that around. and one volley from behind would just destroy your cav.
Yeah, he did have 4 Yariki, but
Yeah.
he should. Yeah, I mean, yeah, level 9 Yariki.
Should have pushed that cav advantage, gotten them on a flank or in the rear so that they would have been more of a threat, and not send in his Shogatai until his cav were in position, because he sent them in unsupported and you saw they just routed right off the bat.
Yeah, he should have just used his Royal Marines to skirmish, just pick at me with his gun cav, just what do you call it?
Kite.
Just yeah, I mean obviously, but disturb, cause this is kind of embarrassing right now.
I can't help you, my friend.
just stall my advance and cause some chaos in my ranks, using his gun cav, because obviously if you keep shooting at me with those really high reload, good accuracy, almost unlimited ammo units, I'm gonna have to do something, and yeah, I'm not gonna be able to keep my cav as a defense of my infantry forever. Like if I can't take out those Royal Marines and Shogatai, just winning with my cav alone is going to be extremely difficult against FotS.
So I don't want this to drag on too long, but do you have
Yeah.
anything else that you want to say?
I could repeat that name again.
YOLO swag over 9,000. I gotta say, it's a good name.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was an interesting battle. I hope this was at least somewhat helpful for you guys wondering how to beat a FotS Samurai player with a rush army on Shogun 2. And if not, I think it was still an enjoyable battle. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I guess I will see you in the next video.
See ya.